beautiful people. Happy Monday. We places now. We live in both places. Right. Facebook already acting up. Good morning. Both of them messing up. Let me see something, y'all. Mom, shalom. I think this Facebook video. I think it's gonna finish it. It's gonna end it. Let me see. See, I was trying to use the hotel Wi-Fi was good yesterday. If you can see me, Tiffany, I'm about to end this and start it over. Let me see. Finish. Change my settings up here. Let's see. Okay, turn this off. You would think the hotel Wi-Fi would be better than what it is. Shoot. Okay, let's try it again. Nope. This. Okay. Live. Okay, we started again. All right, y'all. We finished. Let's do this appendix. All right. Hopefully that works. All right, that's finished. Tiffany, happy Monday. I'm not sure if you could still see me on the last video, but I just ended it because I had that big square saying that it was having connectability issues. So I just ended it and I turned off the hotel Wi-Fi on my phone. But anywho, everybody, happy Monday. Obedience to y'all. Shalom. All right, y'all. Today it is Monday, October the 18th, 2021, day 282 of year 3 of reading through the books of the laws and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 950. Today we're reading Psalm chapter 7 through 11, and we will finish completely reading Caesar's Messiah today. We actually done with all the chapters, 16 chapters. We finished that yesterday, but it's an appendix in there and a timeline that I'm going to read, and that's going to be our reading for today. But let's go ahead and do the Shema. So it's going to probably be like a real short day. We probably won't even hit the hour mark, unless I find something to talk about. But I probably won't. I'm going to end it because we got a very exciting day today. So now that the main festivities are over here, well, as soon as I'm done with my video, I'm going to go ahead and get everybody up, get the rocking and rolling, because we have a surprise for the kiddos today. So stay tuned if you're on the social media. I might do like a little compilation video for YouTube of the vacation or whatever. I'm going to post it to our family channel. So the kids, they don't know. We're surprising them. We are taking them to Legoland in Chicago. So we didn't know that there was a Legoland in Chicago. We didn't even look for one. We just knew about the one in Pennsylvania. So what we were going to do, after we left Illinois, we was just going to take a different route, and we was going to go and spend a day or two in Pennsylvania and go to the Legoland there. Just take our time, go through all the exhibits and everything. When I pulled up the address so I could add it to our itinerary while we were here, they said Legoland Chicago. I'm like, shut your mouth. It's one closer. And we right here. So we switched it from Pennsylvania to Chicago. There was actually another exhibit we were going to go see. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard about the Dr. Seuss's it's a Dr. Seuss playland type thing. They don't have it everywhere. I think they move it like I want to say like every year they move it because it's such a huge exhibit. And if you guys are familiar with Dr. Seuss books and how colorful they are, it's literally an interactive Dr. Seuss books. Dr. Seuss, well, a compilation of the Dr. Seuss books. I'm gonna leave a link so y'all can see. So if y'all close, y'all should go take y'all children. We might not be able to hit it. Well, I'm almost certain we're not going to be able to hit it because you have to purchase your tickets online beforehand, and they have time slots that you have to choose. And so they're bringing in groups like I want to say it's like an increment of every 30 minutes. I think it's 15 to 30 minutes. I may be getting the times mixed up with the Legoland, but I think the Dr. Seuss is every 15 minutes they allow a group to go through because it's, like I said, it's interactive and one section kind of builds upon another and you go through it and they get to experience all the little things, some of the things that they've seen in the Dr. Seuss books, like the huge flowers and stuff. I'm amazed at how they did. If you go online, you can actually look at some of the exhibits and some of the pictures. A couple people took their children on YouTube and they got like a short video of the exhibits that they went through. So, but we couldn't get enough tickets for our group for the time that we were going to be here because just my family alone, my babies and grandbabies, it's 12 of us, so plus we got other family members. But most of them are leaving today. The one with kids, all leaving today. So they was going to miss it. But even with just our 12, trying to get all the small kids tickets with the adults, they either they were missing like 2 adults, so they couldn't book all the children together because you got like smaller groups, like groups of 2s that come in and choose those slots. And we couldn't get all of ours in at one time slot because in each of them, it was already like a smaller group that chose that time, which knocked out 2 to 6 in our group. So I'm just like, and we leaving in a couple days. So we may have to check that out next time or check it wherever it goes to next. I don't know. Hopefully it'll come to Virginia and we ain't got to travel so far. But that's going to be the surprise for the kids today, Legoland. So be looking out for some of those colorful videos. All right, y'all. And if y'all getting tired of my timeline on Instagram and Facebook, I'm sorry. We ain't seen this part of the family in years. So having a ball and I'm flooding the timeline. So unfriend me if you need to for the next week. All right, y'all. This shimmer. It's found in Deuteronomy chapter 6, starting at verse 3. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily as Yahuwah, the mighty one of our fathers, has promised us, in a land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your mighty one, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children. And you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah, our mighty one, as he has commanded us. Dana, I couldn't find one for the times that we needed. I was looking, I spent a little bit of time up there. I was trying to maneuver everything. And plus, we wanted to make sure that our grandbabies was with us too, so they could see it. So the last day we could do it is today. So we had trouble getting into those. I mean, unless somebody cancels, I'll check it again. But shucks, we didn't already purchase our tickets for the Legoland thing. So we'll see, because we're gonna stay here a day later than our grandbabies. They flying out tomorrow, so we gotta take them to the airport in O'Hare early tomorrow, so they don't catch their flight. But we road tripping in the big party bus. So, but we're gonna probably be leaving possibly Wednesday, possibly. We got to see, but if we can catch it on the way out, if we can find something, we probably will hit it because we really wanted to see it. Um, but okay, all right, y'all. I'm gonna quit running my mouth and get this done real quick because I'm on a tight timeline today, and we can't be late. We definitely can't be late for that. Okay, let's see. Pull this up. Jerry, shalom. Okay. Jerry and everybody with Jerry, shalom. Okay, put on. Okay. Trina, hey girl, hey, I saw you come in while I was doing the Shema. All right, y'all. Psalm chapter 7, a psalm of David, which he sang to the Lord concerning Cush of the tribe of Benjamin. I come to you for protection, O Yahuwah, my God. Save me from my persecutors. Rescue me. If you don't, they'll maul me like a lion and tear me to pieces with no one to rescue me. O Yahuwah, my God, if I have done wrong or am guilty of injustice, if I have betrayed a friend or plundered my enemy without cause, then let my enemies capture me. Let them trample me into the ground and drag my honor into the dust. Arise, O Yahuwah, in anger. Stand up against the fury of my enemies. Wake up, my God, and bring justice. Gather the nations before you. Rule over them from on high. Yahuwah judges the nations. Declare me righteous, O Yah, for I am innocent, O Most High. End the evil of those who are wicked and defend the righteous. For you look deep within the mind and heart, O righteous God. Yahuwah is my shield, saving those whose hearts are true and right. Yahuwah is an honest judge. He is angry with the wicked every day. If a person does not repent, Yahuwah will sharpen his sword, and he will bend and string his bow. He will prepare his deadly weapons and shoot his flaming arrows. The wicked conceive evil. They are pregnant with trouble and give birth to lies. They dig a deep pit to trap others, then fall into it themselves. The trouble they make for others backfires on them. The violence they plan falls on their own heads. I will thank Yahuwah because he is just. I will sing praise to the name of Yahuwah, the Most High. Psalm chapter 8 is for the choir director, a psalm of David to be accompanied by a stringed instrument. O Yahuwah, our Lord, your majestic name fills the earth. Your glory is higher than the heavens. You have taught children and infants to tell of your strength, silencing your enemies and all who oppose you. When I look at the night sky and see the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars you set in place, what are mere mortals that you should think about them, human beings that you should care for them? Yet you made them only a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor. You gave them charge of everything you made, putting all things under their authority, the flocks and the herds and all the wild animals, the birds in the sky, the fish in the sea, and everything that swims the ocean currents. O Yahuwah, our Lord, your majestic name fills the earth. Psalm chapter 9. Also for the choir director, a psalm of David to be sung to the tune Death of the Son. I will praise you, Yahuwah, with all my heart. I will tell of all the marvelous things you have done. I will be filled with joy because of you. I will sing praises to your name, O Most High. My enemies retreated. They staggered and died when you appeared. For you have judged in my favor from your throne. You have judged with fairness. You have rebuked the nations and destroyed the wicked. You have erased their names forever. The enemy is finished. In endless ruins, the cities you uprooted are now forgotten. But Yahuwah reigns forever, executing judgment from his throne. He will judge the world with justice and rule the nations with fairness. Yahuwah is a shelter for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. Those who know your name trust in you. For you, O Yahuwah, do not abandon those who search for you. Sing praises to Yahuwah who reigns in Jerusalem. Tell the world about his unforgettable deeds. For he who avenges murder cares for the helpless. He does not ignore the cries of those who suffer. Yahuwah, have mercy on me. See how my enemies torment me. Snatch me back from the jaws of death. Save me so I can praise you publicly at Jerusalem's gates, so I can rejoice that you have rescued me. The nations have fallen into the pit they dug for others. Their own feet have been caught in the trap they set. Yahuwah is known for his justice. The wicked are trapped by their own deeds. The wicked will go down into the grave. This is the fate of all the nations who ignore Yahuwah. But the needy will not be ignored forever. The hopes of the poor will not always be crushed. Arise, O Yah. Don't let mere mortals defy you. Judge the nations. Make them tremble in fear, O Yah. Let the nations know that they are merely human. Next chapter, Psalm chapter 10, y'all. Oh, Yah, why do you stand so far away? Why do you hide when I am in trouble? The wicked arrogantly hunt down the poor. Let them be caught in the evil they plan for others. For they brag about their evil desires. They praise the greedy and curse Yahuwah. The wicked are too proud to seek Yah. They seem to think that Yahuwah is dead, yet they succeed in everything they do. They do not see your punishment awaiting them. They sneer at all their enemies. They think nothing bad will ever happen to us. We will be free of our trouble forever. Their mouths are full of cursing, lies, and threats. Trouble and evil are on the tips of their tongues. They lurk in ambush in the villages, waiting to murder innocent people. They are always searching for helpless victims. Like lions crouched in hiding, they wait to pounce on the helpless. Like hunters, they capture the helpless and drag them away in nets. Their helpless victims are crushed. They fall beneath the strength of the wicked. The wicked think Yahuwah isn't watching us. He has closed his eyes and won't even see what we do. Arise, O Yah. Punish the wicked, O Yah. Do not ignore the helpless. Why do the wicked get away with despising Yah? They think Yahuwah would never call us to account. But you see, the trouble and grief they cause. You take note of it and punish them. The helpless put their trust in you. You defend the orphans. Break the arms of these wicked, evil people. Go after them until the last one is destroyed. Yahuwah is king forever and ever. The godless nations will vanish from the land. Yahuwah, you know the hopes of the helpless. Surely you will hear their cries and comfort them. You will bring justice to the orphans and the oppressed, so mere people can no longer terrify them. Last chapter for the day is Psalm chapter 11. And we read more than three. Clearly, y'all done figured it out already, like we always do. We read more than three because the book of Psalm, the different chapters of Psalms are so short. Now, when we get to Psalm 119, the longest chapter, that'll be the only one we read for that day because it's so long. Okay. Psalm 11, for the choir director, a psalm of David. I trust in Yahuwah for protection. So why do you say to me, fly like a bird to the mountains for safety? The wicked are stringing their bows and fitting their arrows on the bowstring. They shoot from the shadows at those whose hearts are right. The foundations of law and order have collapsed. What can a righteous do? But Yahuwah is in his holy temple. Yahuwah still rules from heaven. He watches everyone closely, examining every person on earth. Yahuwah examines both the righteous and the wicked. He hates those who love violence. He will rain down blazing coals and burning sulfur on the wicked, punishing them with scorching winds. For Yahuwah, for the righteous Lord loves justice. The virtuous will see his face. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. That was Psalms chapter 7 through chapter 11. So let's finish up the rest of Caesar's Messiah. This has been a good ride reading this book. We read through it way faster than what I thought. Like we read through 400 pages, y'all, in what, maybe like a month. I think I would need to check it, but we're actually done with the book. We're actually done with the book. We finished reading the last chapter yesterday, which was chapter 16, and the only thing that is left is the appendix, a timeline, and the endnotes, which is the index with all the references while I was reading. All right, so let's go here. Least any man boast. Shalom, shalom. Okay, y'all. The appendix, which starts on page 391, a reader's guide to the names and terms in Caesar's Messiah. Okay, so I'm gonna just tell y'all this. I'm gonna screw up a lot of these names in here. I'm sure of it. If I screwed it up while we were reading, I might screw it up this time too. I think I got all of them. If I screwed up too bad, y'all forgive me. Okay, Acelius Galabrio. He was the consul at Rome in 91 CE. He was banished, then executed by Domitian in 95 CE as a contriver of novelty. Traditionally, he is supposed to have been executed for being a Christian. This next person is Acelius, legendary chamberlain of Flavia Domitilla. He appears in the 6th century CE work Acts of Saints Nereus and Acelius. The next one is Agrippa II. He was born in 27 CE, the son of Agrippa I, king of Judea, and grandson of Herod the Great, as governor over the tetrarchy of Philip and Lysanias. He supported Vespasian during the Jewish War, sending 2,000 men. Barabbas, a character in the Gospels who acts as a foil for Jesus and is released instead of him. The name is a composite of Hebrew bar, which is son, and Abba, which means father, meaning son of the Father. In some early manuscripts, his name is given as Jesus Barabbas. The next one is Bar Kokhba, leader of the revolt against Rome in 131 CE. His name in Hebrew means son of the star, referring to the star prophecy. The next one is Bernice. She was born in 28 CE. She was the daughter of Agrippa I, who died in 44 CE, king of Judea, the grandson of Herod the Great. She married Marcus, the brother of Tiberius Alexander, and after his death became the mistress to Titus. She can be identified through a logic puzzle in Wars of the Jews as one of those who initiated the idea of creating the Gospels. Her sister, Drusilla, believed to be the most beautiful woman in the world, married Antonius Felix, the Roman procurator of Judea, and that was in 52 through 60 CE. The next one is Bruno Bauer, a German philosopher, historian, and theologian, 1809 through 1882. He realized that the Gospels had been written as Roman propaganda, utilizing Stoic and Hellenistic ideas, and had not been derived directly from Judaism. He thought that the first Gospel had been written under Hadrian, 117 to 138 CE. See Christ and the Caesars, 1879. Catullus, a character in Wars of the Jews who dies when his guts burst. Judas Catulus, counterpart in the Judas Catullus's counterpart in the book of Acts, dies when his guts burst. The parallel is set up to create a logical puzzle which, when solved, reveals the names of the writers of the Gospels. Next is Clement or Clemens, Pope Clement I, traditionally credited with the authorship of the non-canonical epistle of Clement to the Corinthians, c. 96 CE. He used to be identified with the consul Titus Flavius Clemens, who was executed by Domitian in 95 CE. Cyprian, a Christian bishop and orator, born in c. 240 CE. Daniel, prophetic book of the Hebrew Scriptures, written around 600 BCE, containing prophecies about the coming of a Messiah and the destruction of Jerusalem. Odysseus Mundus, a character in the passage that follows the famous testimonium passage in Jewish antiquities, which supposedly confirms the historicity of Jesus. The name is a pun on Odysseus Mus. Mus means mouse, a Roman military hero who sacrificed himself to save Rome. Domitian, Titus Flavius Domitianus, 51 through 96 CE, the younger son of Vespasian, who, at Domitian's birth, was an army general. Domitian succeeded his father and elder brother Titus as the third Flavian emperor, 81 through 96 CE. His rule is associated with a literary revival and major building program in Rome. Historians present him as an efficient but cruel and corrupt despot. I forget how to pronounce that. Eleazar, Maccabean Hebrew name that means whom God aids. It is translated in Greek as Lazarus. Eleazar was a member of the Messianic dynasty that was captured by the Romans during the siege of Jerusalem. He was threatened with crucifixion and had his limbs pruned. He was then given back to his relatives, and after he died from his injuries, they ate him. His torture and death are satirized when the figure of the cannibal Mary eats her son as a symbolic Passover lamb, and when the figure of Lazarus in the gospel is raised from the tomb, whereupon Mary makes him a supper. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher enslaved to Epaphroditus, secretary to Nero and Domitian. Some of his attitudes were reflected in the Gospels. Eusebius, bishop of Caesarea around 330 CE, and author of A History of the Church and an apologetic life of the Emperor Constantine. Felix, Antonius Felix, corrupt Roman procurator of Judea, 52 through 60 CE, and husband to Drusilla, sister of Bernice. Flavia Domitilla, granddaughter of Vespasian, niece of Titus. She married Clemens. She provided the land for the earliest Christian catacombs in Rome, to be distinguished from the Domitilla, who was sister of Titus and Domitian. Flavians, the family name for the dynasty of emperors founded by Vespasian. Hegesippus, I think that's right, Hegesippus, a second century Christian writer of a book of memoirs directed against the Gnostics. His work is known from the passages incorporated into the writings of Eusebius. Herod the Great, king of Judea, 73 through 4 BCE, from an Idumean, not Jewish family. He became governor of Galilee at the age of 25 and later fled to Rome, where Mark Antony appointed him the puppet king of Judea and Absentia. Caesar Augustus eventually confirmed the title, and with Roman support, he was installed as a client king in Jerusalem. He co opted the Maccabean dynasty by marrying one of their women, Miriam, by whom he had 4 children before he had her executed. Poor Herod, boy. Hippolytus, heretical Christian teacher and bishop born CE 150 CE. I'm sorry, no, I added an extra C. Okay. Heretical Christian teacher and bishop born C 150 CE. Honi, known in Greek as Onias, Honi the rainmaker, died 65 BCE, is traditionally identified as a Galilean holy man and was one of the models upon which the character of Jesus was based. Irenaeus, Christian theologian born in c. 130 CE, best known for his writings against Gnosticism. Jerome, a Christian saint and writer on the Bible, born about 340 CE. Jesus, The name of a character portrayed in the Gospels. The name is a Greek homophone for the word Yeshu, which can mean either God saves or Savior. Joseph of Arimathea, a character in the Gospels. He takes the body of Jesus down from the cross. In the Gospel of Barnabas, his name is given as Joseph of Arimathea. No such town as Arimathea existed. The name is a pun on Josephus Bar Matthias. Josephus, originally Josephus Bar Matthias, 37 through 100 CE. He took the name Flavius Josephus on being adopted into the imperial Flavian family. He claimed to originally have been a general in Galilee who recognized that the traditional Hebrew prophecy about the New World ruler applied to Vespasian. He abandoned the Jews and sided with the Romans. He was given an apartment in the emperor's own townhouse and wrote the authorized history, Wars of the Jews, which was criticized by contemporaries for fictionalizing history and containing scholastic puzzles. The Romans erected a statue in his honor. Judas Iscariot, excuse me, a character in the gospel who betrays Jesus to the Roman and dies when his gut bursts. His last name may be an anagram indicating that he represents not merely the Maccabean Judas the Galilean, but specifically the Sicarii movement. See Catullus. Judas the Galilean, a Maccabean zealot. He was a leader of a revolt against the Romans around 6 CE over a proposed census. His sons Jacob and Simon were crucified by the Romans, and another son, Menahem, became leader of the Sicarii movement, which supposedly assassinated its opponents with the daggers, after which their movement was named. Justin Martyr, a Christian theologian born about 100 CE, best known for his dialogue with the Jew Tryphon, Juvenal, Decimus, Ennius, Ivunalis. Yep, I screwed that up. Satirical anti Semitic poet active in the first century CE. He coined the well known expression bread and circuses to describe how the emperors would please the populace. Lazarus, C. Eleazar. Maccabees, original messianic dynasty of Judea, removed from power by the Romans in 63 BCE. See Matthias. And when it says see, those either we done already read it or it's coming up. Well, we already read Eleazar for Lazarus, but we're about to in the next two we'll read about Matthias. Okay. Maccabees, original messianic dynasty of Judea, removed from power by the Romans in 63 BCE. See Matthias. Mary. At least 5 different Marys are presented in the Gospels where the name is used generically to refer to female rebels. The word is a Hebrew term meaning their rebellion. Its Aramaic equivalent is Martha. She was rebellious. Matthias, founder of the militaristic and messianic dynasty of the Maccabees, who in 165 BCE led the revolt celebrated by Jews today in the festival of Hanukkah. Matthias, or Matthew, had 5 sons: Simon, Judas, John, Eleazar or Lazarus, and Jonathan. These names were dynastic and were passed on through later generations until the dynasty was removed from power by the Roman conquest of Judea in 63 BCE. The dynasty's burial site was discovered in 1995 at a site 30 kilometers north of Jerusalem. Once removed from power, the dynasty continued to revolt against the Roman occupation and the Herodian puppet kings. In the Gospels, the Romans blatantly satirized the Jews by using Maccabean names for Christian characters. Nereus, legendary chamberlain of Flavia Domitilla. He appears in the 6th century work of Acts of Saints in Nereus and Acelius. Origen, major Christian theologian and biblical critic, 185 through 264 CE. Paul, a historical figure who may have begun his career in the service of the Emperor Nero, as described by Robert Eisman. He subsequently became an administrator of the Jesus cult. Several characters in Josephus are parodies of him. These include the evil character on the right hand side of the Odysseus Mundus triptych and Paulinus, who prevents the Jews from having access to the temple by closing the gates. Acts 21:28 through 30. Contain a parallel event. Hold on. I didn't did that like it was a run on sentence. Hold on. Acts 21:28 through 30, having I'm sorry, y'all. Let me just start. Okay. Let me just start Paul over. Paul, a historical figure who may have begun his career in the service of the Emperor Nero, as described by Robert Eisman. He subsequently became an administrator of the Jesus cult. Several characters in Josephus are parodies of him. These include the evil character on the right hand side of the Odysseus Mundus triptych and Paulinus, who prevents the Jews from having access to the temple by closing the gates. Acts chapter 21, verses 28 to 30 through 30 contain a parallel event in which the temple gates are closed. Pedanius Discorides, the chief physician and botanist accompanying Vespasian and Titus in Judea. His work is believed to have contributed to the underlying botanical metaphor that the Romans used to create their satire known as the Gospels. He is best known as the originator of modern herbalism and as a pioneer of anesthesia. Perseus, Aulus Perseus Flaccus, 34 through 62 CE, Roman satirical poet aligned with Stoic philosophy. Pliny the Elder, Gaius Plinius Secundus was a friend and advisor to the Emperor Vespasian, whom he visited daily. He is known to have visited the army in Judea in the midst of the Flavian military campaign. He is best known for his natural history. In a future book, we will identify him as one of the people who worked on the writings of the Gospels. And we know Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger were, because if you were here for the reading for that really short book before we started reading this called the Authorship of the New Testament, we read about Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger, right? Completely different authors with some of the same history points brought out. Okay. Pliny the Younger, governor of Pontus, Bithynia, 111 to 113 CE. His correspondence with the Emperor Trajan on how to treat Christians survives. The problem, as he defined it, was that the contagion of this superstition had gotten out of control and had already spread beyond Judea, not only to the cities, but also to the villages and farms, although he still thought it to be possible to check its further spread. The Emperor Trajan, however, instructed him that Christians were not to be sought out. Quirinius, governor of Syria, he attempted to conduct a census in 6 CE to facilitate tax gathering. This led directly to the revolt by the zealot Judas the Galilean. In the Gospel of Luke, the depiction of Mary and Joseph going to Bethlehem to register for the census is a satirical counter to this revolt. The Gospel depicts Jews who cooperate in paying their taxes. C.I. Scofield, Christian writer 1843 through 1921, who produced an edition of the Bible that popularized pre-millennial teachings. Seneca, Stoic philosopher and tutor to the Emperor Nero. Some of his attitudes are reflected in the Gospels. Simon Peter, a character from the Gospels whose name is originally Simon before he is renamed Petros, meaning a stone. At the end of John 21, he is told that he will be bound and taken off to die. The character parodies the rebel Simon in Wars of the Jews, who was seized at the siege of Jerusalem and taken to Rome for execution. Satonius, a Roman historian and secretary to the Emperor Hadrian. He is remembered chiefly as the author of the Lives of the 12 Caesars, produced around 120 CE. Tacitus, Cornelius Tacitus, 55 through 117 CE, a Roman historian known for his histories, Annals of Imperial Rome, and a biography of his father in law, Agricola. Tertullian, a Christian theologian born about 160 CE, the first theologian to write in Latin. Tiberius Alexander, a non practicing Jew who was son of the richest man in the world, the customs collector of Alexandria. He was brother in law to Titus's mistress Bernice and one of the generals supporting the Romans in the siege of Jerusalem. He put down a riot in Alexandria, slaughtering 50,000 Jews. He can be identified through a logic puzzle in Wars of the Jews as one of those who initiated the idea of creating the Gospels. Titus Flavius Sabinius became consul in 82 CE, married Domitian's Sulla Domitilla, and was executed by Domitian, supposedly the father or uncle of Clemens. Titus, Titus Flavius Vespasianus, 39 through 81 CE, the elder son of Vespasian, having served after serving in Britain as a legate, he went as legate of the 15th Legion to Judea under his father's command. After Vespasian returned to Rome to be crowned emperor, Titus was left in command of the campaign in Judea. He directed the building of the siege wall that surrounded Jerusalem and led to the fall of the city. On his return to Rome, he shared in his father's administration and became emperor on Vespasian's death in 79 CE. Historians regard him as an efficient, frugal administrator like his father. Theophrastus, a Greek philosopher and botanist, died in 287 BCE, was chosen by Aristotle to succeed him in running the Lyceum. Several of his unique botanical words were used by the first century CE Romans, probably by the botanist Pedanius Disaccords, to create aspects of the Flavian satire. Vespasian, Titus Flavius Sabinus Vespasianus, 9 through 79 CE. Born the son of a tax collector, he commanded a legion during the invasion of Britain and developed expertise in siege warfare. This was why he was asked by Nero to lead the force to put down the revolt in Judea. On Nero's death, the army united behind Vespasian to support him as emperor. He became emperor in December 69 CE and is presented by historians as a fair and hard-working administrator. From 71 CE until his death in 79 CE, he governed with the assistance of his son Titus, who succeeded him as emperor. Boy, that TV over there loud. Ooh, give me 1 second. Let me close that door. That's joining to our children's room. Okay, that was Jeremiah. Loud. Okay. William Whiston, English clergyman, mathematician, and classical scholar, 1667 through 1752, succeeded Newton succeeded Newton as Lucasian professor of mathematics at Cambridge, translated the works of Josephus into English, concluded that the various prophetic fulfillments in Josephus proved that Jesus was the Messiah. Zacharias, the son of Baruch, a minor character in Wars of the Jews, parodied in Matthew 23 35, as Zacharias, son of Berechiah, who dies in a similar fashion. We got a couple more pages. No, actually, this is the last two. Then it's going into the timeline. Okay. Zakai, excuse me. Rabbi Yehonan ben Zakkai, described in the Talmud as leaving Jerusalem at the time of the siege in a coffin and standing up to acclaim Vespasian, who awarded him the town of Jamnia or Yavne in order to establish rabbinical Judaism. Supposedly, he applied the star prophecy or world ruler prophecy to Vespasian exactly as Josephus had also did. Last one is the Zealots. Originally a Maccabean group, they organized against Herod the Great, 74 through 73 BCE, and again under Judas of Galilee, c. 6 CE, to resist a Roman census. After the destruction of the temple, the Zealots retreated to Masada, where, according to Josephus, many committed suicide to avoid capture. Okay, y'all. So that was the appendix with all the characters. The next is the timeline of Jesus and Titus's lives. It's actually not that long. It's only 2 pages, and then it's the end notes. Okay, a timeline of Jesus and Titus's lives. First is the life of Jesus, and it just gives a few. 1 CE, purported birth of Jesus. 30 CE, ministry begins. At the Lake of Galilee, Jesus begins his ministry by calling followers to become fishers of men. Matthew 4:19 and parallels. At Gadara, Jesus expels 2,000 demons from a man. The demons migrate into pigs that then jump off a cliff into the river. Mark 5:1 through 20. Okay, next is 33 CE. Jesus goes to Jerusalem, Luke 19:28 and parallels. A naked young man escapes at the Garden of Gethsemane, Mark 14:51 through 52. Jesus predicts that Jerusalem will be surrounded by a wall, Luke 19:43. 3 men are crucified at the Hill of the Skulls, or Golgotha. 1 man is taken down from the cross by Josephus, then Arimathea, and later appears alive. Matthew 27:33, 27:57 through 58, and parallels. At the end of the last gospel, Jesus declares that John, the beloved disciple, will live, but that Simon Peter will be bound and taken where he does not want to go and be killed. John 21:18. And then it gives the life of Titus. In 39 CE, Titus Flavius Vespasianus, hereafter Titus, is born. In 66 CE, his father Vespasian is appointed to be put down. His father is appointed to put down the revolt in Judea and takes Titus with him. In 67 CE, Roman campaign begins in Galilee. At the Lake of Galilee, Titus begins his campaign with a battle which Jews fall into the water and are fished out. Wars 3, 10, and 5 through 9. In 68 CE, Emperor Nero dies. At Gadara, rebels are forced to rush like beasts into the river. Wars 4, 7, and 1 through 6. And all of these are paralleling the events of Jesus, the ones that were summed up first. Okay, I'll read that again. 68 CE, Emperor Nero dies. At Gadara, rebels are forced to rush like beasts into the river. And that's Wars 4, 7, and 1 through 6. In 69 CE, in July, the army in Judea, Egypt, and Syria backs Vespasian for emperor. Vespasian arrives in Rome, quells civil war, and is made emperor, leaving Titus to complete the war in Judea. In 70 CE, Titus goes to Jerusalem. Titus, naked without his armor, escapes attack at the Garden of Gethsemane. Wars 5 and 12. Titus builds a siege wall around Jerusalem. Wars 5 and 12. Titus pitches camp at Jerusalem exactly 40 years from the start of Jesus' ministry. 3 men are crucified at the village of the inquiring mind, Thekoa. 1 man is taken down from the cross by Josephus ben Matthias and miraculously survives. That's the reference is Josephus' life, page, excuse me, Josephus' life, 75 and 420 through 421. John is captured but allowed to live. Wars 6, 9, and 4. But Simon is seized and taken to Rome to die. And that's in Wars 7, 2, and 1. In 71 CE, Titus and Vespasian have a joint triumph in Rome. Titus is given various honors and begins sharing control of the administration. In 73 CE, the massacre at Masada occurs exactly 40 years from Jesus' resurrection. In 79 CE, Josephus writes the authorized history, Wars of the Jews, which is dedicated to Titus. 71 through 79 CE, Gospels are probably written. In 79 CE, following Vespasian's death, Titus becomes emperor. In 80 CE, Titus establishes an imperial cult to worship Vespasian as a god. In 81 CE, excuse me, Titus dies in September, and an imperial cult is created to worship him as a god. Arch of Titus is constructed post posthumously in Rome, acclaiming him as the son of a god. His younger brother Domitian becomes the third Flavian emperor. And the last one in 94 CE, Josephus publishes his Jewish antiquities in 20 volumes written in Greek and containing the Testimonium Flavium, which supposedly testifies independently to the historic existence of Jesus. And that, my beautiful people, is the entire book with the exception of the end notes. And I'm looking, there are some notes, right? And it has a selected bibliography and the author's statement. Okay, so let me see. It is the total amount of endnotes or index of references is 253. I'm not going to read all 253, but if you have the book and if you will listen to me when I called out the number, you will see that throughout the book where the number is put for the reference here in the back, right? But let me see. I'm going to skip down. It has like the author, the name of the book, when it was written, the year, the page number, if you had the location of where it's in here as well. Um, but some of them actually had some notes. Okay, like reference number 28 for Juvenal, it's a satire 6. The hay box was used to keep food warm for the Sabbath to avoid cooking. The reference to the tree is uncertain, but possibly a reference to the menorah, the 7-branch candelabrum. Okay, so I'm gonna read all the ones that have that little note, like a little blurred paragraph. Okay, so reference 61 says the term can either refer to a Roman or non-Roman armed force. Reference 66 says the following quote from Bruce Chilton is an example. Some have sought to get around the force of this text by saying that the word generation here really means race, and that Jesus was simply saying that the Jewish race would not die out until all these things took place. Is that true? I challenge you. Get out your concordance and look up every New Testament occurrence of the word generation in Greek and see if it ever means race or any other context. Here are all the references for the Gospels, and he lists all the references where the word race was listed in the Gospels. So all through Matthew, Mark, Luke. I don't see any here for John. Okay, and it says, not one of these references is speaking of the entire Jewish race over thousands of years. All use the word in its normal sense of the sum total of those living at the same time. It always refers to contemporaries. In fact, those who say it means race tend to acknowledge this fact, but explain that the word suddenly changes its meaning when Jesus uses it in Matthew 24. Bruce Chilton, What Happened in AD 70, Kingdom Publications, 1997, page 89. Okay. Down here at reference 80, it's talking about the beloved disciple John. The identification of John as the beloved disciple is the only straightforward reading of the text and was also the tradition maintained by Irenaeus, the Meritorian fragment, and in the Latin Anti-Marcionite prologue. Nevertheless, certain scholars have disputed whether the beloved disciple really was John, though they are unable to agree on whom he might have been. The relevant point for our purposes is not when this chapter was inserted into the Gospels or if it was composed by someone with the name of John, but only that the author's intent was to use the identification of John as the beloved disciple as part of the system of prophecy between Jesus and Titus. Okay, reference 111. Of note is the fact that the word the author uses for this handkerchief, Salderon, is one of the few words in the New Testament that is neither Hebrew nor Greek, being of Latin origin. Reference 114. I am not the first to posit that there was more than one Mary Magdalene. Eusebius also noticed the contradictions between the various versions of the first visit to the empty tomb and attempted to harmonize the four versions by claiming that there must have been more than one Mary Magdalene. Okay, reference 135 says William Whiston was an 18th century mathematician, theologian, and linguist. He was appointed assistant to Sir Isaac Newton in 1701 and published an edition of Elucid for students at that time. In 1703, he succeeded Newton as Lucasian professor. He fell out with Newton over their different interpretations of the Bible. Whiston's cosmology conflicted with Newton's in that he believed that God directly intervened in the lives of men, an understanding that he obtained from his readings of Josephus, whose works he translated. His English translation of Josephus is still in print and is the translation used throughout this work. All right, so remember all of these other references is just giving the books, the titles, the chapters, pages. But those who have little paragraph, little blurbs in them, I'm reading them to you. And I think, was that it? Yep, that was the last one. Okay, then it has a selected bibliography that gives the different names on page 409. And the last thing is the author's statement on page 411. Author's statement. Although I discover a revolutionary way to understand the Christian Gospels, my study of them began in a manner so classical as to perhaps be more a part of the Middle Ages than the 20th century. I spent my youth in Japan where I attended the only English-speaking school in the country, St. Mary's Military Academy. The school was run by Jesuits, so removed from the events of the modern world that they did not even consider shutting it down during World War II. Give me 1 second. Oh, I guess they changed their mind. It was probably my oldest son calling. Y'all up? Okay. I spent my youth in Japan where I attended the only English-speaking school in the country, St. Mary's Military Academy. The school was run by Jesuits, so removed from the events of the modern world that they did not even consider shutting it down during World War II, and taught a curriculum that had not changed since the 18th century. The majority of every one of my school days was spent studying Greek, Latin, and the Bible, which for some reason I found fascinating. Following college, where I did not study religion, I began working with one of the most renowned programmers in the world, David Ferguson. David had been granted the first 2 patents ever issued in computer software. I worked with David in a series of companies, including Ferguson Tool Company and ASNA, of which were the founders. After selling my interest in our companies to investors, I was able to return to my earlier interest, the origins of Christianity. Though I had drifted away from the Catholic faith, my study of Christianity never stopped. Over the course of my life, I had read hundreds of books relating to the historical Jesus and early Christianity, but none of them left me feeling that I really knew anything about how the religion began or its founder. The fact I found the most perplexing was that at the exact time the followers of Jesus were purportedly organizing themselves into a religion that urged its members to turn the other cheek, another Judean sect was waging a religious war against the Romans. This group looked to a Messiah, but one who would lead them militarily. It seemed implausible to me that the two diametrically opposite forms of Messianic Judaism could have emerged from Judea at the same time. So I began to study the Dead Sea Scrolls. I was hoping to learn something of Christian origins in the 2,000-year-old documents found at Qumran. To assist in my understanding of them, I also began studying the history of the era. It was then I came across the key that led to my discoveries. While reading Josephus's Wars of the Jews and his account of Titus's destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE, I noticed curious parallels to the stories in the Gospels. At first, I could make no sense of the parallels between Titus's campaign and Jesus' ministry, so I tried to look at the Gospel with fresh eyes, as if I had never seen them before, giving up any preconceived notions about what they meant. This perspective resulted in the discoveries presented in this book. A Roman imperial family, the Flavians, had created Christianity, and even more incredibly, they had placed a literary satire within the Gospels and Wars of the Jews to inform posterity of this fact. My book includes my books include Caesar's Messiah, Ulysses Press, 2006, the best-selling work of religious history in the U.S. in 2007, and its German translation, Das Messias Ratzel, Ustein, 2008, achieving #1 bestseller status. The German magazine Focus published a cover article of my work, number 52, December 25th, 2008. The revised Caesar's Messiah Flavian Signature Edition was released in 2011. My upcoming book, The Single Strand, will be published by Olstein. I live with my wife of 25 years in California, and we have 2 children. I am an avid chess player and proud to state that I have more than 100 victories over grandmasters and international masters. I hold an ICC rating of 2358. If you'd like to contact Joseph Atwill, please visit the website at www.caesarsmessiah.com. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today and the completion of Caesar's Messiah, the Roman conspiracy to invent Jesus. If you don't have it, it's one for the library. I leave the link. Well, I left the link every day, and I'll leave it again today for the last time. For the last time in today's video. Tomorrow, we should be starting his next book. It's not this one, but what's it called? He just said it. I went looking for this, the single strand, right? So I went looking for the single strand, and it, from where I was looking at, it doesn't seem to be available yet, right? But I'm still looking for it. So his the next book, which some people call the follow-up to Caesar's Messiah, it has more detailed things in there, but it talks about Shakespeare, and it uses the same typology that they did in the Gospels and everything. It's still bringing everything together, but I'm super excited about the chapter about Revelations, right? That reveals a lot of that stuff and how Revelations was put together and where it took stuff from and merged things together, right? So, if your eyes weren't open while reading through the true authorship of the New Testament and through Caesar's Messiah, you might not want to listen to the next book, right? You might just need to start over, right? All right, y'all. It is Monday, October the 18th, 2021, day 282 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 3-year consecutive day count, day 950. Y'all, we read Psalms 7, chapter 7 through 11, and we read Caesar's Messiah. We started on, I forgot to put page, we started on page 390. 390? No, I'm sorry, 391. And we went all the way to the last page through the timeline, through the appendix and the author's statement, all the way to the very last page on page 412. All right, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. I'm going to go ahead and do the blessing so we can get out of here. Make sure everybody get up, get dressed, and get to rolling. Robert, Batwabu. Okay, y'all. So remember, the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6. Verses 22 through 27. Remember, the Nazarite vow is the first 21 verses of Numbers chapter 6. Anybody can take it, man or woman. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. I ain't called Tootie baby because I'm about to wake her up. She's knocked out over there laying across our bed. And she's going to be grumpy. I know she is. When she ain't moving around, she's still deep in sleep that she needs, right? She probably still in that REM stage of sleep. Probably wake her up last, though. She's the easiest to bathe and get dressed. We got to get the boys moving around. All right, y'all. So that is, I'm just moving the screen around over here. All right, y'all. So Instagram and Facebook, I'm going to be flooding the timeline still today with pictures and videos. So if you're tired of it, you can mute me for a little while. Just whatever, right? I'm gonna put together I'm trying to do little snippets of stuff. Like I have longer videos, but I'm just trying to pull snippets out because today in the era of social media, nobody want to sit there and watch a long video, right? So I try to keep it within the guidelines of Instagram, like and TikTok, like the 30 seconds up to me. I think TikTok is now like a minute. Instagram now, if you download Instagram TV, you can do videos now up to an hour, which I should probably try and post these videos to Instagram too, the longer ones, right? I tried it before, but it wasn't working. But since we've been doing it, they have lengthened their time. So I might next go around, I might do Instagram too and put it up there. But yeah, so for YouTube, I'm gonna do like it's gonna go on our family channel, but it'll be like a longer one, right? But I can use YouTube has shorts now, which is like the little small clips like TikTok and Instagram have. So some of the little shorter ones on our family page, I put on like the Instagram shorts and stuff, just for those who that's on YouTube and don't like the long videos, is just need a good laugh or something, But anyway, Joy, how do you find me on Instagram? Look for Murphy Tribe. You'll see me and my family. We up there. Yeah, just type in Murphy Tribe. I think we're the only Murphy Tribe up there. Yeah, I think we're the only last time I checked, I think we're the only Murphy Tribe. All right, yep. So look for us there. All right, y'all. That's it. I'm out of here. Let me go ahead and wake this crew up and get to going. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I see y'all bright and early in the morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce. Bye, y'all. Thanks for hanging out.